I want to show you about continuous drawing, which is when the model moves slowly from one pose into the next at an even pace. So it's a good exercise for you. It really forces you to make decisions quickly and teaches you how you see and make decisions. So for this, I'm going to use a piece of Conte and I'm just using newsprint. So I'm using the Sanguine Watteau because I like the reddish color. I like the Conte for these really quick drawings because I think it shows well. So these are time lapse, so I sped it up just to fill the page more quickly and make some general remarks about it. You'll notice I have the paper turned sideways, which is, I think, a good thing to do because it allows me to piggyback the proportions from the previous figure. And I'm not trying to finish anything, just map out the gesture. And once the page is filled, it looks better than each individual drawing does. Here I just switched to black Conte to see if it would show better than the red, but they both show about the same. So I'll stick with the red because I like the color better. So I'm going to switch to real time and do a page of these so you can see how long they actually take. And sometimes the model will move slowly and evenly, and sometimes they'll go, their speed is never quite even perfectly because their weight's shifting. So sometimes if they're in between, if they're off balance a little bit, they're going to change from one pose to the next. So this really forces you to make long lines and make big decisions quickly. Our friend Degas said to attack nature by her main lines, and it was cowardly to go about it by detail. And this exercise really forces you to make big decisions quickly. If the model's not staying still, you don't really have time to go into any detail at all. As a matter of fact, these first 3 or 4 don't even have any arms. So the way that I tend to go about this, I'll start with the head, just a habit I have, plus it's kind of a logical unit of measure. The paper's turned to the side, and when the model's standing, you can see I can kind of carry the head over, the rib cage, pelvis, they tend to stay in about the same spot. So I'll go head, neck, rib cage, pelvis, spine, and weight-bearing leg, and then see if I have time to indicate what the arms are doing. So I'm always trying to get the weight of the figure and the main masses of the head, rib cage, and pelvis. So if you're thinking about what to start with and what to draw, I would just suggest you take biological necessity to be sort of akin to drawing necessity and think about what a person could survive with and without. So starting with the head makes sense because if you lose that, then the figure can't live, right? So head, rib cage, pelvis, then legs. I actually don't have any arms yet. Hopefully I'll get to some, but really the point of this is to sort of surrender and think of the drawings like a verb, really, rather than, you're not going to make a finished drawing. It's really drawing as an action rather than as a product or a finished thing. So this is a pretty good exercise because it really sort of forces you to internalize what you're seeing a little bit and kind of freeze it in your head, and it helps you make some decisions. But you can also get some nice pages out of it. A lot of animators do really quick drawings. These end up being about, I don't know, maybe 10-second drawings. I haven't really broken down the time for each of them. And you can see I'm going kind of slow and even. I'm trying to hit each thing once and move on to the next thing. I'm trying not to repeat my lines or make a line out of a lot of little lines, but hit each thing once and move to the next, meaning by each thing I mean each part of the body. And since you're moving from one pose to the next pretty quickly, what a page of these drawings ends up giving you is more of a sense of movement in between the figures, almost like an animation rather than any one of them being finished. This can also be a good thing to do if you feel like certain poses are intimidating you, because you really have to just jump in and try and stay on the drawings and keep at it and not be afraid of any one part. So it's good if you feel like you're being shy about certain things, because you really have to make decisions. At any rate, I hope that you find this exercise useful. I do like doing it once in a while, and I notice when I do these, the drawings I get afterwards, the longer drawings, do come out a little bit more fluid, because it it does loosen you up. It definitely gets the blood flowing. And this sheet of newsprint, or this pad of newsprint, is a full sort of 18 by 24 size. So I'm drawing at a reasonable size, which I think is also good. Help you, especially if you tend to always draw small. I actually draw small a lot, which is fine, but I do think it's good to vary your scale, or rather the size that you draw, if you always tend to draw the same size. So the page is almost done. I'll just let the clock run out, but I do hope you found this useful and interesting and can get something out of it for your own drawings. This comes up in some videos where it will say continuous drawing, or sometimes it comes up in live drawing situations. So that's continuous drawing.